welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm the Handicapped Traveler. Some of the things you'll see us doing is going to parks, museums, zoos, possibly some flea markets, just going on some adventures together. And you will find out from a handicapped person's perspective how easy or hard it is at the place we are. Usually I'll have the rollator, also known as a four-wheeled walker. A lot of times I'll have my gate belt on in case my wife has to grab me. Sometimes I'll just use a standard cane, and other times I will be in a wheelchair, like when we go to zoos, because there's no way I can get around a whole zoo without being in a wheelchair. So I look forward to going on some adventures with you all. I hope you enjoy going with me. And if you do, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe so you know when I will be doing another video. Thank you very much, and let's go on our adventure. Okay, folks, today we're doing something a little different from parks. We're walking around Main Street in Madison Village, which has a lot of historical buildings and that. And as I said before, I enjoy history and old buildings. And you can see Madison was incorporated in 1867 and is listed in the National Registry of Historic Districts. And this is what's commonly known as a square in Madison Village. And there's a pavilion up here with a picnic table and some benches. And on Thursday nights, they have a concert, open air concert every Thursday night during the summer. And then the pavilion is where the band sets up. And we're gonna walk down here. What's also neat about this town is this is River Street that we're looking out on right now. It does get busy because this is River Street's Route 528, and Main Street's Route 84. 528 and Route 84 are together at times. But this town has flags honoring those from our area that got passed away during service. I really think that's wonderful. And there's a truck going by. We're unfortunately going to have a lot of those and probably going to drown my voice out. But as I was saying, I appreciate our servicemen and women in all branches: Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines. My father-in-law was in the Marines and during World War II, and my dad in the Navy during World War II. And this plaque here memorializes the arrival of the Vietnam veterans traveling tribute wall on August 28th to September 1st, 2003. And we have the flag. I'm not sure I was able to get that. As I said on our last visit, I can only raise my hands up so far, and then we're done. And we're coming up on another memorial that to the veterans. They have little plaques all surrounding all around the thing with the different service people's names. And as I said again, I think it's just wonderful how this town really has taken to thanking and memorializing those who have died, and letting those that we know that are still serving and protecting us. And there's some of the plaques that you can see, and the plaques go all the way around. They circle around the statue. And here's this sign about the summer concert series, and at that time also there's an outdoor market. And we have not been up here since they started the outdoor market with the concert series. We did go to a couple concerts back when I didn't want to lay down and fall asleep after dinner. Now we don't get out as much at nighttime because I'm, as I said, basically done. And this used to be a restaurant. Now the building sits there. And up above there is a bed and breakfast. And this way, unfortunately, one of the historical houses actually had a fire just recently, so we won't be going down that way. And unfortunately, a lot of the people were put out of their apartments and what have you, waiting for traffic to go by here to cross, even though they're supposed to stop and wait for me. This person is. Thank you. So now we're crossing over, and in front of us is the Cornerstone Brewery. That is a nice restaurant, and this isn't far from Route 90, so if you're traveling east or west on 90 through the Ohio area, where Madison, as I said on my Arcola Creek video, we're about an hour or less from Cleveland, and we're about an hour or so away from Erie. So if you want a sit-down restaurant that's not too bad and has good food, just get off the highway and come down into the village rather than stopping at McDonald's, Sheetz, or Love's. There's a little sign here telling you about the growing green on Main Street. And as you can see, this is in the Arcola Creek watershed, and they do a really good job at keeping the landscaping up and keeping this pretty. And here we have Heavenly Safe Chocolates and More, which is a newer one. But we got Jelly Belly hanging out on the bench here. So of course I got to pose with Jelly Belly. Can never, a man might be able to grow up, but you never take the boy out of him. And here we have the old Tavern restoration headquarters. Rehabilitate, restore, and revitalize. 1798 is when a lot of the buildings and that were around here. Now and they have lots of benches along here that you can sit. And they have little things like the Welcome to Madison, Ohio on this one. And this is Pet Watts, which I will eventually have to check out, see if they got anything for my dog. Because as you can see, my shirt Not sure if you really were able to read it or not, but it says, I don't always spoil my dog. Oh, yes, I do. And what's nice about these old towns and things like this is it has local businesses, and we're coming up on our sushi bar, which I'm not big on sushi, so again, I've never been there, but it's a place like my son would go to. And here we're coming up on the Open Door Coffee House, which is one of my wife's favorite places. And they do have smoothies. I don't drink coffee, but one of these days I'm going to have to go in and try out the uh, smoothie. Sometimes my brain doesn't always click on what I want to say, and I apologize for that. And again, I hope you all bear with me. And this is another one of the neat things we're coming up on in Madison Village is the working barbershop pole. Might be a mini pole, but it's a working one, which again I think is really cool. And now if you have a wheelchair it might be hard, but what's nice about the barber here, he has a grab bar for people like me who, to get up that step, can really use that grab bar. And unfortunately, the future past has gone. Now it is for rent, but that's the way things go. And we're going to be turning around here because pretty much Main Street ends at this thing up above here is the more modern stuff like Domino's. And down the road you have the post office, which I just went to because I had to pick up some stamps, and the Shell station and things like that. So it's, while they're important places, they're not quite as exciting as the old buildings. And the floral that we see, as I said, people work hard to landscape and keep Madison Village looking pretty. And unfortunately, that's the house across the street that just recently caught on fire. And you can even get in some karate here. Some of these buildings uh, have been around since 1860. Now, of course, they've had to have some refurbishment done and what have you. This is the building, and I'm not going to be able to, and it has nice architecture too. I don't know that I'm going to be able to give you a look of it. I'm going to try and go out here a little bit onto the street. 1880, not 1860. I think the arch in that is so cool. As I said, I'm into the old time architecture. Just history just is so interesting, and I think we need to look more at our history, and there might be things that weren't good in our history, and we need to learn from it so that we don't keep repeating things that were wrong in the history. So now we're walking back up the street and coming back up to Jelly Belly. And as you can see, there's a slope here behind the mailbox, but back there is more additional parking. I tried to park up here on the main drag because the hill is difficult for me to walk up. And again, more of the architecture and landscaping and flowers. This is by the Cornerstone and Jelly Belly. Down below you can sit down at the picnic table. It'd be rough for me to get down there and get, plus it's stones that you'd have to walk on. But for able-bodied people, it's just fine and a nice place to sit. And we're coming up on another thing that I wanted to show you in Main Street here. On the one building, we have the Fountain Ice Cream Soda. Chew meal pouch tobacco. And that sign is still pretty, not really fading. It's just cool. This is the Cornerstone Brewery, which I told you is a nice place if you're on 90 to come on down. But it also is part of the historic register. But I don't necessarily condone chewing tobacco or smoking. It can lead to all kinds of diseases, which it has been proven. And to be honest, I find spitting, chewing tobacco a little bit on the gross side. But that's my own opinion, and you all have your right to do it. I just suggest you don't. And there's plenty of stuff that I did that I shouldn't have. I didn't take care of my body too great. So now I got to use aids for me to get around. And we're coming up on Nifty's 50s Diner, which right now is closed for remodeling. Hello. Yeah, and somebody just blew a red light because somebody beeped at them. People don't do that. So then again, there's another, once it's reopened, another store you'll be able to check out and dine in instead of, for a change, if you're on the road for a distance. I know I always enjoy going to some of the local places when we're traveling. And I wanted to show you the Madison Historical Society Museum and Gift Shop, which at one time, and that was a motorcycle, which at one time was the Madison Library, which now the Madison Library has a brand new building down in Madison. One of these days, I'm going to have to get up here and check out the Historical Society. I actually have never been in it. And across the street is the funeral home. I promise I will not succumb to saying people are just dying to get in there. Oh, I guess I just did. I apologize. Y'all can groan and moan now. Oh. So now we're going to cross back over to the square once we get that walking hand. Now push the button. Sometimes I wonder if those things actually work. But we'll see. I might have a while to wait. And what I can tell you is what we're going to see up here. I got the walking sign, so I get to walk now. But there's a Congregational Church and a Methodist church. And I'm also going to point out to you Rabbit Run, which they have. It's an arts center. They do private lessons for all kinds of instruments, piano. My son used to take trombone lessons there. Probably don't want to admit this, but probably 10 to 12 years ago is when he was taking lessons there. It shows how old I'm getting. If my oldest son was old enough during high school to take private lessons 10 to 12 years ago. And I want to check this one thing out at the Congregational Church here. So we got to, oh, goodness gracious. Sorry about that, folks. I'm running out of breath. My steam is quickly declining. And I don't know if you can see, this is Park Street, which is basically just a little square street. It goes around the square. Because I haven't noticed this box before up here. It might be there. Usually if I'm attending something at this church, this is not the church we go to, but if we're attending something, the entrance is in the back. So we go to the back and don't see the front too much. And they have a nice bench here too, in loving memory of Gordon and Dorothy Vogel. It's a really nice bench. But take a blessing, leave a blessing. They got hand sanitizer, some black-eyed peas, jelly, spaghetti. I've seen boxes like that with books. I've never seen one where they're giving out food. I'm not sure I'd necessarily want the jelly after it had been sitting out in 90-degree weather in a box. But that's me. There's the Rabbit Run Community Arts Association sign. I'm going around front here to show you that at one time this actually was the town hall. And it says Town Hall 1867. And there's your Methodist church, which pretty much is the end of our little tour. And that's a better look at the bed and breakfast that we have here in Madison. I'm going to sit down and we'll just look out at the square You'll probably see the traffic going by. But I wanted again say thank you for joining me on this little walk around Madison Village and seeing some of the historical things and how history is still living and combining with new stuff. It was fun and I enjoyed it. I hope you did too, and I hope it gives you a want to maybe come visit us here. And I also want to remind you that if you liked the video, to please hit that thumbs up and subscribe so you know when other videos of mine are coming out. I would really appreciate it, and it will help me out. I also want to remind you that if you have to use a wheelchair, cane, walker, whatever it is you need to help you get around, it's not making you handicapped. It's making you handy-capable so you can get out and enjoy life. Thanks, folks, and can't wait to see you on our next adventure. Have a great day.